Okay, let's today talk about one of the more controversial aspects of uh, of sports nutrition or of nutrition in general, and that is the use of various food supplements. Food supplements are very controversial because there's a lot of health professionals, such as doctors, physicians, and some scientists, who tell people to avoid supplements at all costs. They're not necessary. You don't need any. But they fail to understand the word supplement. Supplement means to supplement the diet. When you take food supplements, the primary purpose of using any type of food supplement, this is the primary purpose, is to supplement nutrients you're possibly not getting in the diet that are essential to health, in the sense that if you don't get these essential nutrients, eventually you'll suffer the nutritional consequences in relation to negative health aspects. That's inevitable if you have a long-term deficiency. Now, the usual statement made by doctors when patients say, well, doctor, should I take a vitamin, mineral, or supplement like that? The doctors will say, no, forget this vitamin, mineral, forget all those supplements. They're all snake oil, they're all junk. Get all your nutrients from food. Now, that's not bad advice, but there's a problem with that. There's actually several problems. For one, unless a person's eating a completely natural, unprocessed diet, he's not going to be able to get all those nutrients only from food. That's the first problem, because a lot of people eat processed food that's literally devoid of certain nutrients that are essential. And also, the second thing is that they'll tell people to eat and this is, the government does this too. If you want to get all the nutrition from food, you have to follow a balanced diet. And that's choosing foods from various food groups, such as dairy, fruits and vegetables, meat, eggs, that kind of thing. There's different food groups. Now, that's not a bad advice. And if people actually did that, if they ate all the foods that are shown in these various food group charts, they probably would get most of their nutrition solely from food, with a couple of exceptions, which I'll mention later in this video. But you can get all your nutrition from food. The big problem with that is most people just don't follow balanced diets for various reasons. When I used to give nutrition seminars, I would the very first question I would ask is, how many people in the room follow a balanced diet? And when I said that, I would say about 70% of the room raised their hands. And then I'd go down the list of what constitutes a balanced diet in terms of a variety of food groups. And I keep asking the question, now how many people follow a balanced diet? And there'd be less and less hands. By the time I got to the end, there was, let's say a room of 150 people, maybe two people, by the time I went through what a balanced diet really consists of, two people would raise their hand and say they followed a balanced diet. Now, the problem is that all these people that are not following a balanced diet are not getting certain nutrients. For example, one of the food groups is the dairy food group. Dairy food is meat, milk, cheese, that kind of thing. These are the most reliable sources of natural calcium. If you don't drink milk and eat cheese, you can have problems with calcium. Now, a lot of people, vegan advocates, will pipe in at this point and say, wait a minute. That's not true. Calcium is available from various fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables. That's true. Vegetables do contain calcium, but they also contain what they call anti-nutrient substances, which I've written about in Applied Metabolics, my publication. These anti-nutrients are stuff like oxalic acid in vegetables, phytic acid in whole grains. These lock on to minerals such as calcium and basically pull them right out of the body, so you don't get full absorption. So even if you eat a vegan diet, if you don't have dairy foods, or take let's say a calcium supplement, there's a good chance you will get a calcium deficiency. So they don't talk about that either. Then there's specialty supplements that are not necessarily required for health, but could be of use, especially for people involved in bodybuilding and fitness. The prime example of that is creatine. There's no actual nutritional requirement from creatine, because creatine is synthesized in the human body from three amino acids: arginine, glycine, and methionine. Your body produces 1 gram of creatine a day in the liver, pancreas, and kidneys. So theoretically, there's no daily requirement for creatine. However, and I've done there's I'm sure you people watching this video already know this. There's been countless studies showing that if you take extra creatine, you get an improvement in exercise performance and even an anabolic effect because it stimulates insulin-like growth factor 1. The usual recommended dose of creatine as a supplement is about a teaspoon a day, 5 grams, or you can do a creatine load, which involves taking about 25 to 30 grams a day of creatine, maybe 5-6 days, and then you go back to a maintenance dose, which would be about a teaspoon a day. Or the preferred way is just to take a teaspoon a day of creatine. And as far as the creatine forms, I've talked about this in my applied metabolics and also in previous videos. Contrary to popular belief, all these fancy creatines that you see, these high-tech creatines, none of them are superior to the original and cheapest form of creatine, which is creatine monohydrate. So don't waste your money. But that's what I call a performance supplement. There's others, such as beta-alanine. Again, the beta-alanine, when you take it orally, it's converted into a substance called carnosine, which is intramuscular buffer that helps reduce acid produced during exercise. That by reducing the acidity of muscle during exercise, you reduce fatigue and possibly get more muscle endurance. There's a couple of others. Whey protein might be kind of in the category of a performance supplement in the sense that it's quite easy to get enough protein from food, whether you're a vegan or a omnivore. It's not hard to get enough protein from food, but a lot of people don't have the time. You do need to have a certain range of protein to build muscle, and that range is 1.2 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. The upper figure, 2.2, amounts to about a gram of protein per pound of body weight. And it's easier said than done, because if you're weighing over 200 pounds, you'd have to take about 200 grams of protein a day to meet the upper listed requirement for building muscle. And you can't have it all in one meal, so you'd have to space it maybe at least 3 to 4 meals a day. And a lot of people don't have time to do that, to cook and prepare meals, and that's where a whey protein supplement could be handy, because you just throw it in a blender, mix it with water or whatever, drink it down, and then you could get as much as 25-50 grams depending on how many scoops. Each scoop of whey protein averages about 25 grams. If you take 2 scoops are recommended for those over 40, because when you're over 40, it's a little bit more difficult to get the amino acids from protein into muscle that's needed for anabolic effects in muscle, so you need to get extra protein. So if you're over 40, you'd want to take about 2 scoops of whey protein, which would give you about 50 grams of protein. And right there, you have a quarter of your entire protein intake. If you're about 200 pounds, you have 25% of your entire daily protein intake in one shot. That's where stuff like whey protein. Whey protein, by the way, is the best protein supplement because it has the highest biological value, meaning it's the type of protein that the body can metabolize most easily and it's the most digestible. Now, are there certain supplements more important than others, that you should take? Well, again, it depends on your diet. If you're not eating fruits and vegetables, I would strongly recommend adding a fiber supplement, because fruits and vegetables are the best source of dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is very important to nourish what they call the intestinal microbiome, which is the population of bacteria, fungi, and other organisms that live in the colon. They provide a plethora of health benefits from head to toe. They affect your brain, your muscle, digestion, you name it. 98% of your immune response involves a communication between the intestinal microbiome and the central immune system. So it's very important to keep a healthy intestinal microbiome, and for that you need to eat dietary fiber. So again, if you're not eating sufficient fruits and vegetables, you want to take in a fiber supplement, good examples of which are hydrolyzed guar gum, which is very easy to digest. Another good one is psyllium seed powder, which is very good. Also, another one is apple pectin powder, which they also sell. That's a very good source of fiber. You just mix it if you're going to use a powdered fiber supplement. Forget about fiber tablets; they're garbage. You'd have to take too many. You always take a powder if you're going to use a fiber supplement, and you mix it with a fairly large amount of water because the fiber works with the water. And if you don't drink enough water, there's a chance that the fiber can gel up in your throat and kill you. So you always want to make sure you drink a sufficient fiber if you're taking sufficient water if you're taking a fiber supplement. Of course, certain people, because of certain conditions, absolutely need certain supplements. For example, pregnant women, doctors will often prescribe a B vitamin called folic acid because if a woman who is deficient in folic acid can wind up producing a birth defect in the fetus called neural tube defect, where the spinal column doesn't close. It's a serious problem, but it can be prevented by folic acid. So folic acid is routinely given to pregnant women. If you're on special diets, you might need certain supplements. As I said, they always give what they call prenatal vitamins to pregnant women with at least 400 milligrams of folic acid. Also, women, for example, another condition where supplements might be necessary. Women who don't like to eat like red meat and particularly red meat and certain protein foods. A lot of women don't like to eat a lot of that, and they wind up getting an iron deficiency of mineral iron, because iron is lost in women because of menstrual functions. Women lose iron, and if they don't replace it, they can become iron deficient. And about 40% of women are walking around with borderline anemia from lacking sufficient iron. So for them, an iron supplement might be of use. The best type of iron supplement is one that's called ferrous, Ferrous, I think, Ferrous. Those are the most absorbable forms of iron and the least likely to cause side effects like constipation. If you take too much iron, you can get constipated. New research shows that iron supplements do not have to be taken every day. They can be taken every 2 days. You don't need to take iron every day, even if you're lacking it in the diet. Men, generally speaking, do not need iron because in men, the iron is recirculated. And if you get enough from food, like, for example, if you eat some meat or liver or natural sources of iron supplements are not only not necessary in men, but it's best to avoid taking iron and supplements, because free iron require a little brief explanation here. Iron is normally carried in the blood bound to a protein called ferritin. As long as it's bound to the protein, iron is safe, but sometimes the iron gets disassociated with let's say the protein carriers, and it becomes free iron. Free iron is very prone to oxidative reactions, and some studies suggest that excess free iron is associated with cardiovascular disease and also brain disease, including Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So it's best for men to, if they're going to use like a vitamin mineral or a mineral supplement, get one that says iron free. You do not need to take supplemental iron. One supplement, which I believe just about almost everybody needs, is vitamin D. You can get vitamin D from the sun. If you expose most of your body, upper body especially, I would say not the lower body, because I think you'd get arrested if you walked around like that. But anyway, if you expose most of your upper body to the sun for 15 to 20 minutes, your body will make vitamin D from the cholesterol in your skin. But there's caveats to that. The sun has to be in the right place in the sky to get the UV rays that react to the cholesterol with the cholesterol in the skin. Has to be at a certain angle to get those UV rays. And in the winter at northern latitudes, the sun is not in the right place in the sky, so you can walk around naked in places like Boston, New York in the winter, and the sun could be right out there. You're not going to get any vitamin D production. Vitamin D from the sun is also limited in people who have a lot of body fat, because the vitamin D manufactured in the skin gets sequestered in body fat rather than distributed in the body. Also, people that are with darker skin have trouble absorbing, getting the vitamin D from the sun. And older people also aren't as efficient at converting the cholesterol in the skin into vitamin D. So for all these reasons, vitamin D is important. According to statistics, 42% of people are vitamin D deficient. What they call vitamin D deficient is having a vitamin D, what they call activated vitamin D, called 25 hydrocholecalciferol. Their definition, the usual definition of a deficiency, is 20 or less, which is ridiculous. They consider 30 to be normal. That's why only 42% are considered deficient, because a lot of people do have a vitamin D blood level of 30, but 30 is not optimal for health. If you want to get all the health benefits of vitamin D, such as increased immune response, protection against certain diseases, you have to have an activated vitamin D blood level of 50 and up, which 65 being ideal. Black people, according to a 2022 study, black people, again, because of the difficulty absorbing vitamin D from sunlight and the fact that it's found very rarely in food, or very few foods have sufficient vitamin D. And the ones that do, you'd have to eat a ton of, like for eggs, for example. Egg yolks contain small amount of vitamin D to get even the amount to get your blood level up to, let's say, 40. You'd have to eat maybe about 5 dozen eggs a day, which I don't think most people would be happy to do. 82% of black people are shown to be deficient in vitamin D. Like I say, egg yolks are a source, fatty fish, but you'd have to eat a ton of it. So I believe most people should be taking a vitamin D supplement. They're little tiny gel capsules. They come in doses just like 2,500 units. You take 1 to 2 a day. I myself take 2 a day. That's 5,000 units. And you take it with a meal containing fat, because vitamin D is fat soluble. I think another supplement that most people should consider is omega-3 fatty acids, such as fish oil, because unless you eat fatty fish like mackerel, halibut, sardines, and salmon, you're not going to be getting the bioavailable omega-3. Now, what the government calls essential omega-3 is a nutrient called alpha-linoleic acid. That's found in a lot of foods. It's found in various grains, very easy to get in food. The problem is alpha-linoleic acid, or ALA, is a precursor to the bioactive form of omega-3, which is 2 fatty acids called DHA and EPA. Those are the bioactive omega-3s, and the body can only partially convert alpha-linoleic acid into the active omega-3. Something on the order of maybe 4 to 5% of ALA can be converted into the active omega-3. What this means in practical terms is if you're not eating fatty fish, you're likely not getting sufficient omega-3. Omega-3 provides a ton of health benefits, especially anti-inflammatory effects. There's some studies showing older people, not younger people, but people over 40, if you give them omega-3, it actually helps to stimulate some gains in muscle mass, because most people over 40 have something called systemic inflammation that has catabolic effects in muscle. The omega-3 helps to neutralize that. So again, I would suggest a fish oil supplement. If you don't eat fatty fish, if you do eat fatty fish, you want to have them at least 2 to 3 times a week. If you eat fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week, you do not need to take a fish oil supplement. However, if you don't eat that fatty fish, I'd recommend a liquid fish oil. Don't even think about taking the capsules, because you'd have to take too many capsules to get the, the really, effective dose of omega-3. You'd have to take at least 10 of these oil capsules a day. I don't think most people would comply with that. Whereas with the liquid fish oil, it would be like a tablespoon for the same thing. I've always used liquid fish oil, and as soon as you get the fish oil, always put it in the refrigerator, because fish oil is very prone to oxidation. By the way, most of the fish oil capsules that you purchase, they're already oxidized, and that's another reason why you want to avoid the capsules. Always use liquid fish oil and keep it, as soon as you open it, put it in the refrigerator, because again, if you leave it out in a warm environment, it'll be oxidized, and that is not good for you, to eat oxidized fats. A lot of people, could be deficient in vitamin B12, especially vegans who don't eat animal foods, because animal protein is the only really reliable source of B12, such as meat and liver. Again, as a specialty supplement, I think every person who's a vegan, meaning who subsists almost exclusively on fruits and vegetables should have a B12 should take a B12 supplement. And by the way, they do have what they call vegan-based B12 supplements, which are not made from animal products, so they're suitable for any vegan. You'll probably run across videos of vegan advocates saying that it's all nonsense, that vegans do not have to take B12. They can get it from the fruits and vegetables. Don't believe it. They're full of crap. The type of B12 found in certain plants is not absorbable by the human body. Do not fall prey to their bullshit. You got to take a B12 supplement if you're a vegan. And again, they sell non-animal product B12. The best form to take is what they call methylcobalamin, because that's the most immediately absorbed form. Most of the cheaper forms of B12 are called cyanocobalamin. Cyano actually stands for cyanide. That form contains a little bit of cyanide, not tiny amounts, not enough to hurt you. Strangely enough, if for some reason somebody gives you cyanide to try and kill you, because cyanide's a poison, if you're lucky enough to have a bottle of B12 around, especially cyanocobalamin, if you take it, the cyanocobalamin will save your life. It'll neutralize the cyanide and prevent you from dying. It's a little factoid for you. A lot of people don't talk about. I already discussed iron, how a lot of people need iron, especially women. Magnesium is another nutrient that a lot of people are lacking. It's the fourth most abundant mineral in the body. Again, the statistics say that half of the U.S. population doesn't get enough magnesium. I would put it at more like 75 to 80%. Unless you eat foods like nuts and leafy green vegetables, you're not going to be getting enough magnesium. The minimal daily requirements are about 400 milligrams a day. And taking a magnesium supplement is very, very important. It helps to lower blood pressure. It helps you fall asleep. Helps you control blood glucose. Helps prevent diabetes. And it's also it helps you. It improves your mood. Makes you feel more relaxed. It's involved in energy production. Magnesium stabilizes ATP, which is the elemental source of energy in cells. Magnesium helps the creatine work better. So if you're going to take a magnesium supplement, the preferred form is what they call chelated magnesium glycinate is the preferred form. There's different forms. There's magnesium glycinate, magnesium lysate, which is lysine with magnesium. It's basically magnesium bound to amino acids. This increases the uptake because minerals, generally speaking, all minerals are very hard to absorb. You're lucky if you get 10% of absorption of any mineral. And chelated minerals are absorbed a little bit better than straight minerals. There are certain supplements that are popular, which I think are kind of a waste of money. One of them is, that you hear about is green powders or these fruit and vegetable powders. It's not that they're bad. It's that it's kind of false advertising. The advertisements for these green powders lead people to believe that if they consume the green powders or the fruit and vegetable supplement powders, they don't have to worry about fruit and vegetables because they'll say like a teaspoon equals the equivalent of eating 5 servings. That's only certain nutrients. It's not true. You're not getting the fiber that's found in fruits and vegetables, and most of them are grossly overpriced, and they don't seem to work. They don't really do much. They're a waste of money. As I said, avoid with the fancy creatine supplements. They're largely a waste of money. Just use creatine, plain old creatine monohydrate. And when you buy minerals, you again want to buy the chelated forms. Some examples: iron bisglycinate, zinc bisglycinate or zinc methionine, chromium picolinate, and magnesium glycinate. Those are chelated minerals. They're much more stable than the non-chelated minerals, and as a result, they have much greater uptake. So what about when you're choosing the supplements? Try and get them from a reputable brand. A recent survey found that about as many as 70% of the supplements sold on Amazon.com are underdosed or do not match the label values, meaning you're being grossly ripped off. A lot of the supplements of these no-name companies that sell supplements on Amazon. They're selling you junk supplements that do not match the dosage listed on the label. So you want to be very careful of who you buy supplements from. You want to use name established companies. A couple of good companies that I like was one called Now, N-O-W. Now Supplements is pretty good. There's one, I'm trying to remember the other one. Doctor's Best is another pretty good brand. There's another one, Jarrow. These are all established companies that you could be pretty well assured that they're the supplement they sell, the potencies in the supplement match what's on the label. You try to avoid supplements that contain a lot of artificial colors and flavors. Some of the supplements contain fillers like stearic acid, titanium dioxide. You want to minimize that. Usually the amount of these fillers that they put in supplements, they basically put them in the supplements like the tablets just to hold the tablet together. And it's very difficult. The only way you could avoid them is by taking a powdered supplement, because almost all the pills, the tablets, contain these fillers. And again, their purpose is only to hold the tablet together. Otherwise, the tablet would fall apart. But the amount that they put in the tablet is so tiny that it's not going to do anything. It's not going to affect you. So I wouldn't worry about it. I'd be careful about some of these chewable vitamins. If they contain any kind of sugar, especially these like jelly type gel chewable, they'll stick to your teeth and they'll rot your teeth if you take too many of them, because the sugar, it stimulates the oral bacteria. I would say to avoid chewable vitamins unless you have no other way of taking them. And I think that's about it for this video. I think, it's 26 minutes, so I'm going to stop here. I just wanted to give you a couple of tips, but I think the take-home message from this video is, and I've said this many times before, I'll say it again, do not believe the so-called health authorities, like a lot of medical doctors, a lot of registered dietitians, who will tell you to avoid supplements at all costs. They're dangerous for you. They're going to cause heart disease, cancer. That is strictly bullshit. Based on just to give you, I'll give you one quick example to illustrate what I'm saying. A couple of years ago, they came out with a study, made headlines all over the world. Beta carotene causes lung cancer. Right now, doctors have been repeating this ever since that study came out. Beta carotene is a precursor form of vitamin A. It's found naturally in vegetables like carrots and other colored vegetables. Now, what that study, if you look at the actual study, they gave beta carotene to men who were very heavy smokers in Finland, who already had basically the start of cancer. And when you smoke a lot and you take beta carotene is normally an antioxidant. It prevents oxidation. But when you smoke, the compounds in cigarettes turn beta carotene into a pro-oxidant. Now, a pro-oxidant will stimulate cancer. So what this shows, the study shows, if you give beta carotene to men who are already heavy smokers, the beta carotene will turn into a pro-oxidant and promote cancer rather than prevent it. But the idiots who wrote this up in the popular media, they left out all that part. All they said was, don't take beta carotene anymore because it causes cancer. This is why you have to be real careful of some of these science reports in the popular media. A lot of it's just plain garbage. So don't believe a lot of these health look at your own diet, figure out what you might be lacking in your diet, and supplement what you might be missing. Generally speaking, I think it's not a bad idea for most people to take a good high-potency vitamin mineral just to ensure that they get most of their daily vitamins. The vitamin minerals are great in vitamin content. They're not so great in mineral content. I take a vitamin mineral. It's a 2-a-day formula. It's a capsule. It's really a nice balance of vitamins, but not so much minerals. So as a consequence, I take a separate multi-mineral. I take 4 of those a day, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. Together, that basically assures I'm getting all the vitamin and minerals I need without having to worry about getting it entirely from food. So that's about it. And again, to take supplements as you need. I think most people involved in weight training will definitely get benefits from using a creatine supplement. It works for 80% of those who use it. I'll just stop now. I don't want to keep going because I could go on forever with this stuff, but I think you get the point. If you want more information on nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research you can use today, effective fat loss techniques, ergogenic aids, hormonal therapy such as testosterone therapy. There's a lot of things about testosterone therapy that aren't known, that should be known. There's more effective ways to, if you are interested in testosterone, there's more effective ways to take it that will completely avoid side effects. These are almost never discussed by doctors, and the information that's provided about it on the internet is garbage, useless nonsense. But you'll get the truth in Applied Metabolics, because again, I'm not associated with any clinics. I'm not associated with any supplement companies, so I'm not going to try and sell you supplements. If you really want the truth, I'm one of the last bastions, not bastard, bastions of truth on the internet. In other words, it's 100% truth based on my over 6 decades of study and experience in the field of fitness, health, and nutrition, which I don't think can be matched by anyone. So subscribe today. It's www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, if you send me an email, I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where each day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and general medicine. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage where current subscribers only could send me short questions about anything they might have read in Applied Metabolics or anything that comes to mind about nutrition, exercise, and I'll answer those questions as a bonus for their subscription to Applied Metabolics. Of course, that means I only answer questions submitted to me by current subscribers. But however, anyone is welcome to leave comments under these videos about possibly maybe suggestions for future videos, that type of thing. And if you feel that my videos are of any use, please tell others about it, and feel free. You could subscribe yourself if you're not already a subscriber. When you subscribe, I guess you get a notice every time I post a new video. You'll get an email notice. But just so you know, a new video is posted every Tuesday. Actually, it's very early Tuesday morning. There's a new video every week. So that's about it. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. There are certain supplements that could be useful for dogs too, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. But take care.